Hello, and welcome back to the show. Well, it's not really a show, but anyway. So, today we are going to discuss the 2014 elections in Hungary. However, this is going to be a bit different than the usual discussions, because usually I try to convey or represent the Hungarian people when it comes to political talk at ckg.hu TV thingy, what I've been doing. It's not very popular, but there is a distinctive fan base, and and of course it would be rude not to continue the tradition somehow. But this is not going to be an episode of that, because well, let's face it, 2014 elections are done, and it's been a two-third majority win by Fidesz and some opposition parties. The three big parties are Jobbik, which is a very right-wing contradictory party, and this Together 2014 formation of parties, which is basically the successor of the Socialist Party in Hungary. And then LMP, the politics can be different party, with a very, very small portion of the parliament. Now, obviously Fidesz has two-third majority, meaning that it can continue traditions. And by the way, I am going to mention this mistake in a while, because because of reasons. So it can basically do whatever it wants to do. So nothing has changed really. This election, this basically was a one-stage election, or if I were a political scientist, I'm sure I would know what the correct term is, but to me it's just a one-stage election instead of a two-turn elections. Perhaps that could be a better explanation. Anyway, so this introduction is going really, really horribly. But anyway, let's going back to the party thing. So basically, the representation, or the voters that actually went to vote, is the if I remember correctly, it's 62% of the country, including those Hungarians who live abroad. Now, I know a lot of countries have citizens abroad, but Hungary is a bit special, or at least in the special category. Because of the Trianon Treaty, we have people around the country who are actually Hungarians but belong to other countries. So basically they are citizens of other countries. They were forced to do so, and that was a horrible thing, and today we are not here to discuss that. But the result of that thing is that Fidesz concluded a law that's been going on. It had been going on for quite a while, to grant citizenships to these countries. Now, why, you might ask? Well, the answer is quite simple. Countries like Serbia are not part of the European Union. And if you're not part of the European Union, it means that you have to have a passport to enter any country, even Hungary, and if you want to work, you need special visa. So, for instance, if I wanted to go to work in the US, the US does not welcome me because I'm not a citizen. This is the brilliance of the European Union, at least in some people's eyes, that I can go to the United Kingdom, for example, or Germany and be there indefinitely and nobody would question it. But this is not the case for people from Serbia or the Ukraine, for instance. Now, the European Union somewhat undid, if that's even a word, undid the problems of Trianon, because in Slovakia, Austria, now Croatia, which is the newest member of the Union, or the EU, I'm supposed to call it the EU anyway. So basically, these are solved problems, but we have the remaining problems of Ukraine, Serbia, even Romania. I mean, Transylvania is in Romania, and I can go there, and we've never been there, by the way. But I couldn't go there and stay there indefinitely at any time I want to. Now, so that was a very long introduction, I understand. And this is going to be a very long video, and so, only hardcore fans will watch it probably, and if anybody will watch it probably. But it doesn't really matter. I'm doing this for historical reasons. And most of my reasons of this historical part is that we should really discuss why Fidesz won, and we will not discuss why is it bad or good for the country, because obviously previously when I tried to convey or represent how the people think in Hungary, over criticizing the government, complaining a lot, etc., etc., I expressed my strong feelings, or the country's strong feelings against Fidesz. But really, I believe, as if I want to view my country from the outside, I believe that these elections were not, there weren't any frauds, no cheating, anything. So basically, whatever happened, Fidesz and the other parties, how many portions they have in a parliament, they represent the country properly. And some would say that, because this is an often brought up argument, that whoever believes in Fidesz is stupid, and of course people who believe in Fidesz, they say the other party, who believes in the other party is stupid. So other than people call each other stupid, really it doesn't matter, because either everybody is stupid now or nobody is. Anyway, so obviously, leading to the elections, we have campaigns, political campaigns, of course. And it was very interesting to see, because, the campaigns of 2014, because they were really about persons, and I'm not saying people, just individual persons, rather than political parties. Fidesz had a campaign postering everything in a country with a picture of Orbán Viktor, the party leader, the then current Prime Minister of Hungary, and it said that the Prime Minister of Hungary, without names, but obviously the face. And the other parties, instead of saying that, hey, we are this party or that party, or we are called whatever, they campaigned with names. So really, to me, and it's just a funny thought, nothing more, but it seemed that we may want to elect kings instead of political forces. Because in previous elections, everything was about, I believe in Fidesz, I believe in MSP, I believe in other parties. And now I believe it became I believe in Orbán Viktor, I believe in Vona Gabor, I believe in other, people. I mean, just individuals. And it's a strange thought to entertain. I know, and I'm not a political scientist, so I have to stress that. And these are just my dumb thoughts. And it could be called pseudoscience, because well, why not? If I'm not a real political scientist, obviously, what do I have to base things on? But anyway, I still think what I'm going to say is logical and it makes sense. So, let's hear it. I told you before that it seems to me that we elected kings, and now obviously we with a 2/3 majority we elected Orbán Viktor as the king in my theory, and it could have been any other party leader. And I'm not, so obviously I have to stress that I'm not against all this. It's just, it seems that because the campaign was all about Orbán Viktor and the other names, is just, he became the king, was elected, and there you go. And I think this is logical, and this might be an underlying problem in Hungarian politics, because if we examine our history, which I haven't done in these series properly, and I feel I have to apologize for that. Of course, I'm not the historian, so it's harder for me, even though I know a lot about Hungary's history. It's really hard to be precise, so it's a lot of responsibility to say facts. Right now, and throughout the whole series, I'm just talking about opinions, mind, account, people, and political forces, and whatever. It's easier. But anyway, if we examine at least some of the history of Hungary, we could conclude that we have a 1,100-year-old history, because we came here in 895, 96. That's before the year 1000, and then we've been here since. So that's more than an 1100-year old history now, because we are over 2000. So during this period, we have had, like 99% of the time, a leader or a king leading the country. So before 1000, before István got the crown from the Pope, or at least, the story is we made the crown and then said the Pope that, hey, do you want to officially give us the Pope, because we want to be a Christian country? And then he said that I'll allow it, and then we became a Christian country in 1000. And since then, kings after kings, and there's a big pile of kings. And then a lot of people know that this is the third republic of the Hungarian nation, and therefore a lot of people could conclude that, oh my God, so we are very experienced in democracy, but we had these periods between democracies and republics that were a bit of a mistake. But the truth is that we had a republic in around the First World War for about a couple of years. And by a couple, I mean less than 10, way less than 10. And then around around the Second World War, just a couple of years. And now we have a democracy which is about 24 years old. So really, if we count all these years, we get about, 30, 35 years of democracy. And even though, and my parents always talk about communism, or as we call it, socialism, because as I explained it to you earlier, we were a socialist country, we were building communism. And the thing is that they don't really very often mention the fact that we had elections during the socialist era, so that was 40 years. So that could count a republic because we were called the People's Republic of Hungary. However, the problem was with that election, or that series of elections, is that there was only one candidate, and whoever went there just put an X in the circle, and that one candidate, no position, nobody else, won. So I don't think that really counts as a democracy. So now we have these 24 years in the recent years, and others were either dictatorships or kingships. So now I can conclude my brilliant theory about that we are not used to political parties. We are not used to the fact that the whole idea of a group leading the country. We are not used to talking about stuff the way Americans, well, people in the US, or Anglo-Saxon people are used to. And I usually mention to people, because it's a fun fact, that I at some point in my life I went to work in the United Kingdom as an interpreter, and during that job I got to travel around England, really. So, Wales a bit, not really Scotland, just, maybe the southern part. And everywhere I went, I noticed that people like talking about stuff. So whenever there's a problem, they go into a circle of some sort and start talking about it. First, of course, blaming each other. How could you be so stupid to, I don't know, spill the milk in the warehouse? And then, okay, now, what do you think would be the best course of action to solve the problem? And then, maybe this. And then they say, oh, yeah, that's quite logical, but maybe this is the downside of that solution. And so you understand how it goes. Oh, hopefully. And in Hungary, it's solved a bit differently. First of all, there is always someone who gets blamed, and then that person has to solve the problem. It doesn't matter if that person is qualified or can solve the problem, but that person will have to solve the problem. So rather than a group people, we are a bunch of individuals. So this way we are not used to being led by a group which discusses things. We like having one person there, and that person can be cursed or praised, but that's about it. And just think about one more fact, that in 24 years it hasn't been enough time to a generation to grow up, a true generation, meaning the official definition is like 35 years a generation is. So people who vote in Hungary lived during the socialism, or maybe some people, because you can vote until you die, maybe some people who were born in the 1930s, and in the 1930s there was nobility, because that was abolished in 1945. So people experienced or the environment of the whole feudalism thing, if that's even a word. I can always hide behind the fact that English is my second language, and so I can say anything and nobody could tell me that I'm stupid because I'm trying really hard. I am. But anyway, so naturally a lot of people were very, very disappointed, and friends or people I know, they complained about that Fidesz, even though he won 44% of the votes, now have a 66% majority in the parliament. And this could be the fault, or this is the fault of this new election system Fidesz created a couple of years ago. And people often say that they try to create an election system that suits them. They rearranged the borders of voting areas and things like that. They created new laws, and yes, this could be this could be why they won a 2/3 majority. Now, again, very, very scientifically speaking, this is a constant problem about Fidesz I'm hearing, and this is as an individual, as a private person, this is my biggest problem with Fidesz itself, that Fidesz does good things because every party does good things. I mean, that would be very, very stupid to say they don't do good things. And so they do good things, but they look really, really bad. And I can give you examples such as a couple of years ago, and I think I talked about it on the show. A couple of years ago, 2, I think, or maybe 1, very, very recently, there was an incident in Hungary, a crime committed by a Kazakhstani. Oh wait, no. I'm sorry because I haven't researched it. I can't remember stuff properly, but there was a person who committed a crime against an Armenian gentleman, killed him, and he was in prison. And then this individual were sent home by Fidesz, and then he was celebrated as a national hero in his country. And then the Armenians were really, really mad about Hungary seizing all diplomatic connections. And this is the sort of thing that a lot of people would say this makes Hungary look bad. And of course, all the countries on earth make stupid things. Even the USA is criticized constantly on what it's doing. So this is not a new thing. Yet, there is a constant argument going on in Hungary that we deserve better, or another point of view would be, we are better than this. But, of course, we are human. So, again, from the distance, very scientifically speaking, I have to say that Hungary is just another country, like any country on earth, when it comes to politics or when it comes to foreign affairs. Well, of course, whoever voted for Fidesz is now extremely happy. Why wouldn't they be? Because Fidesz won, and it was a landslide victory, very easy. I watched the elections, at least I followed it on the internet, and except Budapest and some districts, almost all of the country, especially the eastern countryside, except one little, well, what do you call it, territory, almost except one territory, Fidesz won. So basically, if you want to, if this was a high budget video, I could show you a map of Hungary being all orange, because that is the color of Fidesz, and one red little territory or area representing the former Socialist Party. And of course, Budapest is there is a socialist part, and then most of Budapest is orange. So, and this was the case when, as the night or as the evening was progressing, they counted the votes, and then when it was like 23% or 40%, Fidesz won. And then as we went along, going closer and closer to 100% counting, Fidesz still remained. So there was no surprise at all. Which was very interesting, because I remember in earlier years, when there were elections, it was always going back and forth, this party, that party. There were a lot of different spots in the country. But it seems that the people have chosen, and it was very, very apparent from the beginning till end of the campaign period. Orbán Viktor, as the current prime minister of the country, got challenged by the right-wing Jobbik party leader, Vona Gábor, as the prime minister candidate for a, well, what do you call it? Like an argument. And but he declined, and all the other party leaders declined. So nobody wanted to talk to Jobbik, perhaps because it is a controversial right-wing party, but nobody wanted to challenge the others. So it was very interesting to see that during the campaign period, nobody really offered anything or promised anything. And of course, you know what they say about political promises, but it's strange to see, or it was strange to see, the absence of promises. Like nobody promised pizza if you vote for them, or nobody promised that they abolished or they brought back slavery, or whatever. Anything, any stupid promise goes. And there was one interesting thing about these elections. While others had some sort of program, for instance, Jobbik promised that there would be a radical change, and then so on. The former Socialist Party promised that they would lead the country and would help the economy and thrive with this and this and this promise. So there were, at least I found, some promises or a campaign program on their website, but not on the posters around the country, not in the television, etc. Or at least there were some, but I don't think that counts, like 1%. And Fidesz was a very interesting candidate or a competitor, because Orbán Viktor the only person who really talked about the campaign and the program, said that we would like to continue. That's our program. And so whoever knows what Fidesz has been doing in recent years, they probably know. And the opposition who criticizes them still still knows what they are trying to do. And there is a vague idea, at least I have a vague idea about what Fidesz is trying to do, but nothing in particular. And that is very strange, at least to me. But since we are a young democracy, perhaps this is how a democracy matures. Again, if I was a political scientist, I could say that, oh yes, in the United Kingdom, this is how things go, and then Germany, and etc. So I really don't know what to make of it. But at least I can tell that that was a very interesting thing. No proper campaign promises. So I think I mostly covered these whole election phenomena. Of course, no facts, no proper things. So if you are looking for facts, probably you should go read or watch someone who is a political scientist, or at least some sort of scientist in a related field. But me, I just trying to talk about what I see. Of course, I could talk about what I feel about this whole thing, but I don't think it's appropriate. But since you are watching me, probably you are very curious what I think about stuff. So I have to try, but I'm going to fail. Because obviously I told you in the beginning of the video that this will be a sort of an objective overview. And as my personal opinion would be very subjective. And I don't think I really was upset about any of the election thing. Obviously, I did not want Fidesz to win, simply because I'm not satisfied with how they do things. And I'm not saying they are, idiots or stupid or anything like that. It's just I don't like how the government does its job, and this is an ongoing thing. And you would say that, or you could say, or some Hungarians could comment on this video that, oh yeah, probably you are I don't know what they say, a Bolshevik something. But the truth is that I wasn't satisfied with the previous government, and the government before that, and before that, and before that, and before that. And before that I was a child, so how would I know? But during my adult life, I hasn't been satisfied with the government. It's just, I don't like the government itself. I think it's too big, and I think it's not doing its job properly. But the reason I was upset yesterday wasn't really that Fidesz won, or Fidesz won by a 2/3 majority. The reason I was upset today is because after I went voting and were waiting for the election results, I thought it would be a good idea to watch the new Hobbit film, The Desolation of Smaug. And then you might ask that, oh wow, you've seen the film, oh that's fantastic, how did it go? And I would say, not good, not good. It wasn't good. It was long. And I remember I watched the Lord of the Rings films. I was very, very, enthusiastic about them, and they were kind of interesting films. But this, I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I represent the minority of the fans of The Hobbit, or the viewers of The Hobbit, who the minority that would rather see Gandalf going on adventures because he's a wizard and he's really, really cool, rather than a bunch of dwarves and Bilbo. And I like Bilbo because I like the actor who plays Bilbo, and I like him in Sherlock, the BBC series, and of course, and if I'm correct, then David Cumberbatch. No, not David. Is it David? I can't remember. Oh yeah, Benedict. Oh my God, sorry, Benedict. I'm rubbish with names, so that's why. So Benedict Cumberbatch is in the movie, and well, I think I have to give you a major spoiler here that Benedict Cumberbatch is in the movie, if I'm correct, and at some point, two major spoilers are coming. Number one, just brace yourself. At some point, I kinda hear his voice. Major spoiler number two, just sit down. At some point, I kinda see his silhouette in the film, and I don't know. I don't really know why at some point of the film production seems to be a good idea to to employ or to hire a big movie star, or at least somebody who is quite famous or getting famous for a part with a couple of sentences and a silhouette. It's weird, but anyway. My point is, with that whole story, because I like telling stories, is that I represent the minority when it comes to Lord of the Rings, and when it comes to The Hobbit, especially The Hobbit. And of course I represent the minority in Hungary itself. So, and this is what it really needs to be said. That elections, if they are not cheated, if some party doesn't cheat somehow, are a fair representation of the country. Because if 100% of the people went there and 100% did not vote for Fidesz or Jobbik or the other party, the party couldn't get into parliament. And the fact that these parties are in the parliament means that we love these parties. And we like how they do things. Now, you could say that, oh yes, but it's not fair if you are paid to vote or given a glass of palinka to go, or given free bus rides to go voting, or something like that. But look, a vote is a vote. And ultimately, people say that democracy is a bad system, and the reason behind that is because the average person, the average voter, is supposed to be stupid, and could be, their head could turn away towards palinka and free bus rides and everything. But of course, we are still the people. And we are still, and things are still how we want them to be. So even if you're a Hungarian, or even if someone is a Hungarian, probably not Hungarians. Hungarians aren't watching this video. Only just a small number of them. But Hungarians voted for a party and a representative in the parliament. and that's about it. I mean, we are individuals, we can't compare. So if I say that I voted somebody else, not Fidesz, like a small party, and then I want them to be in the parliament and lead the country, yes, that's how you're supposed to think. But you are just one person with two votes, for an individual and for a party force. And you did your job, and now the representation, that how the parliament sets up, is basically how the people think in Hungary. So if we want to analyze Hungarians, if we want to think about the country, or if you want to, and you hear that we did this good thing or that bad thing, then this is who we are. And a lot of people, especially among Hungarians, tend to forget that we are not better than other countries. We are not really special. We are just a country on earth, and we are humans after all. So I think I should now wrap the whole thing up, give you a fantastic summary about all this, and we can all go home and shut this video off, having something learned and being wiser. So what could be the best summary in the history of summaries in the world? Probably I'm not the best person to give you that summary, but well, we'll see. So, basically, the elections surprised some people in Hungary who wanted to replace the current government with a new one. And other people are really happy because nothing has changed. So Hungary has two major forces, really. One who is with the government and one who is against the government. And those who are against the government will always be criticizing it, will always say that the government is doing its job, badly. And people who are with the government will say that the government is doing its job and it's brilliant and Orbán Viktor is awesome. And if we want to find some truth amongst these things, even if we dig really, really deep, we wouldn't find anything, really. Because from one point of view, and let me give you an example. From one point of view, this new, what the government, essentially Fidesz, introduced, the sort of government discount on gas prices, electricity bills and everything, a 10% discount for everyone. From one point of view, it's a really, really good thing. Yeah, and another point of view, it's not a good thing, because 10%, if you have a low salary, 10% doesn't help you much. But if you have a high salary earning millions of forints, that 10% is a really big thing. So a common argument against this, that it's aiding the rich, and the argument against this is that, but it's 10% and it's fair. because it's not a socialist thing. It's 10% for everybody. So if you are smart and you are rich, then you are better off. And if you're not smart and you're not rich, then, yeah, it sucks to be you. So this controversy has been always can have always been found in Hungary. And it's not about Fidesz or Orbán Viktor, the current government or the previous government, the socialist government or the previous government, which was Fidesz again, and then before that and before that. This controversy and this idea of one leader and we can follow it, this is how government or how the country works. And this is who we are. If we again try to find something in history around 1000, István or Steve, I mean, if you want to make his name very, very English, the Steve wanted the country to be Christian because he thought that it would be a good idea. And then the other half of the country didn't want that. And he continued on defeating the opposition and getting the crown. And now, whatever Orbán Viktor does will always meet a strong opposition, but if it was reversed, then let's say Vona Gábor, leader of the right-wing Jobbik party, won the elections, then if he wanted to do something, he would meet a big opposition. Because for some reason unknown to me, because again I'm not a scientist, Hungary likes to be divided into two. It's part of our history, somehow. And again, for some reason unknown to me, maybe because of tradition, we like naming one person as a sort of a leader of the country, instead of a political force saying that, this group will lead the country. No, that person should lead the country, we say. Well, this was it. I promised you no major summary, and I don't think it was. So, what else can I say? I don't think I'm for nothing. I'm out. So I think that I should say goodbye, sort of. And of course, I really like to thank you for watching. And if you're still watching, that's amazing. And I would like to thank you because this channel is going up. It's really awesome. And when I've got two kind of series on this channel. One, this political thing, and the other is the Learning Hungarian series, which is far more popular and there are far fewer videos. And it's really amazing to see, because when I started giving the annotation of, hey, if you like this, you should subscribe, and then if we have 1000 subscribers, I continue with the second season of the Learn Hungarian series. That's kind of an amazing that I still, did you know that I get an email after every subscriber, so I can check it out individually? And that's fantastic, and people still keep writing me about things, and that is also freaking amazing. So yeah, it's it's been it's a wonderful experience, and really it sort of keeps me going, and it's a really nice thing to wake up to, a couple of emails that, hey, someone has subscribed to you. And I would still encourage you to write more, because I don't think enough people write to me. Perhaps some emails come to me saying that I know you're busy and perhaps you can't read this. What gave you that idea? I read everything and I answer to everything. I mean, I'm not getting mails by the million, and even if I did, I probably could come up with a system to answer them. It's not that hard. This is the nicest experience. I like meeting different people. It's awesome. Anyway, this is not part of the political stuff anymore. But yeah, so I would like to assure you that, of course, yes, because we are very, very close to 1,000, I already started writing the script for the second season. So yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, there is no question or doubt about it. It is going to happen. The question is when. But it's very, very close. All right. Well, oh well, this is an unedited video, so it got all my and everything, and I know it's really annoying. I know, because it annoys me when I edit stuff. So, and when I edit myself, and I have to stress that I really hate being in front of the camera. I really wish if someone was, nobody is behind that camera. I mean, this one. And it's really annoying because I want to be there. But, I'm complaining again because I'm Hungarian. You have to live with that. So, thank you for watching. I really tried to give you a sort of objective, or as objective as possible, view on the elections and the results. And there you go. Again, thank you for watching, and I think I should shut up now and be gone. Good day.